Ho, 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 and welcome to the first of the Movie Clubhouse Podcast special Christmas episodes. We wish you a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. Greetings, fellow film and TV fans, and welcome back to a new episode of the Movie Clubhouse Podcast. Today is another beautiful afternoon, and we are reviewing another new film. This movie comes straight from Netflix and is titled Family Switch. A new Christmas movie with a family that switches bodies. That seems interesting enough? If it sure do, let's get straight into a review. As we said, we have just finished watching Family Switch, and we have some different opinions about the film. We can assure you that this is a pretty cringe and cheesy movie. Not in a bad way, we would say, but there are some pretty cringe moments that really make you shiver of awkwardness. This is a movie that makes you feel a little bit awkward at times. It has some cringe moments. However, there are many good performances in the film. Absolutely acknowledge that. It has also some goofy CGI at times. So that's basically our recap of the movie. The movie stars Jennifer Garner as Yes, Emma Myers as Cece, Helms as Bill, and Brady Noon as Viet. Matthias Schweighöfer is also the character Rolf. The movie is directed by MCG. Now, the big question here is MCG the director's real name or just a shortened version of his full name? He's at least titled in the credits as MCG, so we'll call him that for now. The film has a lot of fun moments. The movie hits all the right beats. It has some very fun moments that really makes you happy. But there are also moments that feel really cringe and awkward. But this is a comedy film, so that is something that has to be included almost, I would say. There is also some goofy CGI at times. There is not a lot of CGI in a comedy film. But when looking at this movie, when the kid and their dog in the family switches bodies, that's maybe a spoiler, but the kid and dogs also switches bodies as the rest of the family do with each other. The sister becomes the mother and the son becomes the father, and vice versa. They switch bodies. And at this time, the kid and the family's dog also switches bodies. And this gives us a lot of weird CGI when the kid behaves like a dog and vice versa. It's a lot of goofy CGI, but it's pretty funny. And it most likely fits for a comedy film of this kind of way, a comedy film of this sort. As we said, there are some fun moments in the film, but there are also some cringe and very awkward scenes. The switching that the family do with each other, when they switch bodies, they do that only one time at the beginning. So it's not switching forward and backward, because that would be pretty confusing, we would say. Because it's still hard to keep track of who is who, or learn that they are themselves in this film. That is still a hard thing I experienced during the movie, to keep track of who is switching, or to remember that one person has become another person. So if they would switch continually, that would be even more confusing. But luckily they don't do that. They only switch at the beginning. And as we said, the mother becomes the daughter, the father becomes the son, kid becomes dog. Pretty simple. But it still felt hard to remember that they had switched at times. So that is a note for the director. Otherwise, I would say the story is pretty okay. The writing is also, it has some cringe and cheesy moments, but for a comedy film, that's pretty fun, I would say. So for a fun Christmas movie, I would say the writing is still okay. The characters in the film, which I mainly counted up just previously, which is Jess, Cece, Bill, Viet, and Rolf, that I would say is the main characters of the movie. They are pretty fun themselves and have a lot of depth to them. I also think they are pretty dynamic, and they have some characters get to shine more than others, of course, but that's always how it is in certain movies. For what they are given in terms of a script, I think they are doing a great job with their characters. I would say probably that the kids are doing a great job being adults, now I need to think a moment. The kids are in the adults' bodies, and the kids are then playing the parents. So I think the kids are doing a great job playing the parents in their own body, basically. it gets a little bit hard to explain. I also think this movie is pretty heartfelt, and there's a lot of Christmas warmth to it, which is nice. So it's a good movie to watch when Christmas of 2023 is coming up. I think this movie has also a great meaning and a theme behind it. That maybe you should be happy for who you are, or that you don't know how difficult life can be for others around you, and that you should be grateful for what you have and what others do for you, and that what it all comes down to in the end is what matters most often. As I said, there are also some very fun music and dance montages in this film. The film really hits the right beats when it comes to music and pacing, I would say. But there are really some really fun music and dance montages, and we need to give the director and cinematographer a great note for that, because they are pretty fun. And this movie also has this big family spirit going through it. That family is really important, that you should help each other, and that's a lot of what's going on around in the story. There are also some side characters that sprinkle a little bit of importance to the story. For example, an old lady that helps the family that are a little bit mystical, or the lady is mystical, not the family, that helps the family with this switching thing. And she is important to the story, but she doesn't get that much screen time. We would like to have seen more of her, because she seemed pretty interesting. Maybe in a sequel, we don't really know. But as we said, this movie really hit the right beats most of the times. It feels like a fun Christmas or preparations for Christmas movie. There is Christmas time in the film, but there is no snow and no Santa, if you would say it like that. So it feels more like a preparation for Christmas movie. So it is fun, but it isn't that much more than fun. It's a fun movie with some great performances, and that is maybe all that you need at times. A fun movie with some great performances. If you have that, you have a pretty solid movie. But this movie particularly is maybe for some younger kids, not the youngest, because they maybe get confused about the swapping abilities that they have, but for maybe a little bit of young teens, I would say it like that. So I would recommend that you watch it if you want to see a fun family Christmas movie in preparation for Christmas. But be sure to remember that they have switched bodies, so remember who is who, basically. That's a big important thing I would add to the note of the film, or my notes of the movie. But otherwise, I think it's a pretty fun movie. It has some great performances, and it has some very fun, cringe and cheesy scenes, which is always fun, but it makes you a little bit awkward at times. But that is how certain movies should make you feel, I would say. So I think this movie succeeds with being a fun film. It is nothing that will win any Oscars or so, or any awards for special effects, but it's a fun film, and I think that's enough for certain times. So there you have it, our review for Netflix's Family Switch. This has been an interesting film to see, and we would recommend that you watch it yourself, so that you can form your own opinion about the film, and maybe let us know what you thought of it. We are available on the platform X, previously Twitter. You can reach us on our mail that are in the show notes. Our podcast in its full glory is now also available on YouTube. Write to us down in the comments what you thought of the movie, and we will be happy to respond or discuss with you around Family Switch. So this was all for this episode of the Movie Clubhouse Podcast. I have been your host Eddie, and until we see you guys next time, have a great time watching. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Movie Clubhouse Podcast. As we mentioned, this episode is part of the Movie Clubhouse Christmas special, meaning we will release one episode per week or more featuring new or older Christmas movies. This special will go on for the whole month of December, but note that our regular reviews will not be impacted by this special. Note, our regular reviews will still come out as normal. Have a very Merry Christmas.